You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous.
With your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hit like buttons, subscribe. A big shout out to our title sponsors, NordVPN. You shouldn't be using the internet without any protection. You should be doing it privately. You should be doing it within comfort. You should know that none of those bad people you saw in the advert are out there stealing your data. More to come from them a little bit later in the show. But Arsenal with an impressive 3-0 victory over Brentford today. We're going to break that down. And I've got a few takes for you. Life without Saka. I want to speak about that. I want to talk about how good Nwaneri is. The little resurgence of Gabriel Jesus and what that means for Arsenal. But also, rivals have made Arsenal better. All that to come on the show. Plus, our panel will be joining you very soon as well. And look, someone here says smashed a bit much. No, I can explain that to you. I'm going to give you my view as to why they did. And if you don't agree with it, you don't agree with it. But I'm going to give you my opinion on that. So don't worry about the title. Listen to the content. And maybe it would make sense. Zangar here says impressive win. And I absolutely agree with you. I do think it was an impressive win today for Arsenal. I really, really do. I really, really do think that it was an impressive win. Thank you very much here. Smash the like button. As you enter the chat, I appreciate you asking everybody to do that. Nearly on 1,000 likes already, which is amazing as the viewers start to come through. Wow, Brentford won 1 of their last 6. That's crazy. And do you know what I love about this straight away? They've had a poor run of form away from home all season, but just 1 defeat in the whole campaign in all competitions at home. Jack, a game that many people predicted Arsenal to drop points in, maybe even lose, and they go and score 3, and barring 1 goal, which I think was very preventable when you look at the bad pass from Odegaard. I don't think Calafiori was as close as he should have been. And Raya anticipated the shot going to the far post, and he left his near post exposed. And there was a series of mistakes. Outside of that, it was relatively comfortable. So, Jack, I understand you're upset. I understand you wanted to see Arsenal lose. I get why you wanted to see Arsenal lose. But to say that it's a rubbish Brentford team, it genuinely doesn't stack up with the predictions that we saw before the game kicked off. But there we go. Everyone has their own thoughts, feelings, and opinions on these things. If you want to have your say, feel free to. We'll always prioritize our super chats because they keep the terrace going. Our member chats as well, and we'll get as many other comments up as we possibly can. But my thoughts on the game. Thank you very much for everyone who's hit the like button so far. This was an impressive win for Arsenal. As I've already mentioned, they came up against a team that's lost once at home all season, who's been hard to beat the whole campaign, who has a tremendously good counter-attack. They can do it kind of methodically, or it can be 2-3 touches of the ball, 2 or 3 passes, and they're in on your goal. They can be a very, very dangerous side indeed. You need to know when to press them, because what Brentford do fantastically is they invite you into into them. They invite you to press them. And then 2 or 3 moves, and it can be checkmate in terms of a goal. And they are one of the best in the league at doing that, especially early in games. So many early goals. And they had a very early opportunity in the game that David Raya cut out. Arsenal dominated the opening proceedings. They had the ball. I felt they looked quite dangerous going forward. And I'll talk a little bit more about Nwaneri. And I really liked the partnership between him and Odegaard. And I think actually with 2 or 3 or 4 more games together, they could actually create something quite special with the absence of Bukayo Saka. The goal came against a run of play. It was a very good goal from Brentford's perspective, but I'm sure Arsenal fans were fuming with that goal. And I don't see why they wouldn't be. A poor pass from Odegaard, poor defending from Calafiori, and I think really poor goalkeeping from Raya. He anticipated the ball going one way, didn't happen. The response from Arsenal was excellent. Brentford then came out and they went on the attack. They started having more of the ball, and Arsenal had to sit in and not panic for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, to ensure they didn't concede 2 very quick goals back to back, which poor teams do on a regular basis. And Arsenal, they stuck in, they absorbed that pressure, they rode that little storm, and then they came back. There was a hairy moment when Raya lets the ball go through his hand and he clears it off the line. But literally from that moment, Arsenal got up the other end and score. And it was a very good counter-attack, or transition attack, as the youngsters like to call it. But what I liked about Arsenal is they didn't just cross one ball into the box or play one through ball, it get cleared, and then the attack went away. They kept on winning it back. They kept on applying that pressure. They forced Brentford into mistakes. Partey has a shot from the edge of the box. And Gabriel Jesus, he's criticized for not doing this enough, so you have to give him credit when he does it. But he reacted quickly, like a poacher. Diving header, he makes it 1-1. And then I felt the first half then kind of petered out a little bit. Both teams, there was the last 3 or 4 minutes of the first half, Arsenal really sort of turned the screw again, but I felt it petered out overall. The second half is where Arsenal smashed Brentford. The second half is where they took the game away from them. They came out strong, and they came out very quick in the second half. 2 quick-fire goals. One of them, of course it was from a set piece. And every time Arsenal score a set piece now, all I do is blame rivals that have cried about it. And I said this at the top of the live stream, and I'll say it now. Arsenal's rivals, by crying, moaning, bleating, whinging, bitching about their set pieces, they've created a little bit of an enigma. They've created a problem. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's focused upon it. I had a golf lesson once, and the instructor, I only went on this golf lesson because it was a day out with work and I didn't want to embarrass myself. I ended up not going on a day out with work because there was no way after one lesson I could have gone out there and played golf with these clients. I would have embarrassed us. We'd have lost the deal. One of them old school meetings, right? Anyway, one of the trainers said, well, we were near a bit of a lake and a bunker. And he kept on saying to everybody, stop thinking about the lake. Because typically when you start thinking about that lake, even if you're a pro, you're going to put the ball in it. Think about where you want it to go and not where you don't want it, where you don't want the ball to go. And I remember that moment massively because I then thought about the lake. 3 shots on the bounce and put it in the fucking lake. Lost 3 balls on the bounce. And that's what's happening with Arsenal and set pieces. Everybody's so focused on them. Oh my God, should they be doing this? Are they allowed? How are they doing it? Oh, how dare they have a mural of their fucking set piece coach? I'm so angry. I'm so fuming. It's not sustainable. That focus has put so much pressure upon the opponents of Arsenal at set pieces. That's why they're scoring. The best thing for rivals to do, and I'm sorry to do this, Arsenal fans. Well, I'm sorry for you, not for me. Stop talking about it. Leave it alone. Let it die. You're making it a thing by continually talking about it being a thing. They scored from the set piece. They caused chaos. It was a very scrappy goal, but Moreno was there, who I actually thought had a pretty decent game today for the type of player that he is. And then the most important element for Arsenal is what came 3 minutes later. A really nice little attack. The ball comes out to Waneri. I'll speak about more about him in a moment. Gets the ball, very quick cross. I still think Arsenal, and along with all the teams in the Prem, cross the ball a little quicker, a little sooner, a little earlier. And he does it. It's only half clear because it's such a good cross. It falls to Martinelli. Gooners are saying, please score more goals, especially with Saka out. Bang. On the volley. Kills it. Kills the game. Ends the tie. And then what I thought Arsenal did after that is the special element. Not for the neutral that wants to be entertained. Not for an Arsenal fan who, I'm not going to be happy unless we get 4, 5, or 6. I'm going to say I'm fuming because we could have gone and got more goals. Arsenal were in the Carabao Cup. They're in the FA Cup. They're in the Champions League. They're in the title race. There was no need for at 3-1 up for Arsenal to exert any more energy. Just like the Ipswich game, there was zero need to commit an extra player or two to every attack and leave yourself exposed away from home against one of the best transition teams in the league. It would be stupid. So the game management from Arsenal, I thought, was very, very good from that perspective and that point of view. And as I say, rivals and the media that tried to slag Arsenal off about their set pieces, I think they've made Arsenal better at them. They've made rivals scared about them. They've planted a seed of doubt every single time one of them happens. The other thing, my big takeaway from this game was watching Nwaneri. And I know that, again, it's going to create negativity for Arsenal. So Arsenal fans, strap yourself in. I know what people are like online. There's people that rate Nwaneri that don't like Arteta. They will say, should have started sooner. How dare he not start sooner? We could have been better. We could have closed the gap. Well, you're going to say that because you don't like Arteta. You don't like anything he does. And you're not prepared to listen to it. You could be right, and he could have started sooner. I thought he should have started sooner. However, what you're not is you're not open to the suggestion that maybe the coaching staff, maybe they didn't quite think he was ready yet, but they wanted to start introducing him slowly. The fact that you're not even willing to accept that is why today, instead of going, wow, what a talent, it will be, should have played him sooner. And you're looking at it from a negative point of view. I was so impressed with his general play today. There was times where he was expressive, where he would try and take on his fullback. And he actually got in behind on 2 or 3 occasions in the first half. The final ball wasn't there, but that didn't deter him. The cross for the third goal, I thought, was majestic, but it was his overall play, his decision-making, the ball retention at the right times. He was risk-averse where he needed to be on the pitch, and he went for it. He had that youthful exuberance, no fear at the right times. And look, I would have liked to have seen him play just from a neutral perspective a little bit earlier this season. But just like Saliba, maybe there's reasons why that hasn't happened, and it will come out in the future as to why he's been staggered into this team. And, it depends. I suppose it depends whether or not you think Arteta is a good coach or a bad coach, to whether or not you're going to listen to those other perspectives and points of views. But that's down to you. In terms of today's game, aside from all that bullshit, Nwaneri was excellent. And I think I think Arsenal have got to go into that transfer market. Doesn't change that from my perspective. I think they need to go and buy someone. They need to add some more quality to that front line. But they've tried Martinelli on the right. They've done okay. I thought Nwaneri looked very good there today, away from home, a very difficult place to play. You look at the next few fixtures, away at Brighton, they'll open up against you. There'll be space. Then it's at home to Spurs. There'll be space for days against Tottenham, and you're at home. Then you're at home against Aston Villa. They'll be a little more pragmatic, but they'll still leave a bit of room. I think Nwaneri has done enough to potentially get a start in those next 3 Premier League games. Of course, there's an FA Cup tie against the might, the power, the brilliance that is Manchester United at the moment. And I have to laugh at my own team, otherwise I'll cry. And maybe he plays that game. But Nwaneri, there's a talent in there. You can see it. You can see how good this young lad is going to be. But look, congratulations to Arsenal today. A very, very good victory for them indeed. But I do have one point to make, which you could argue is a little salty. I am shocked that Arsenal have won today. And the reason why I'm shocked they've won is because they won their last match. And I thought you were only meant to win 1 game in 12 when your best player was out injured. I thought, so I was told, when your best player's out injured, you can only win 1 game in 12. By the way, that isn't to LB, that isn't to Nobbins, that isn't to V, that isn't to Patrick, that isn't to Kel, that isn't to any of the City fans who have been honest about the multitude of problems they have at Man City. It's just to those absolute weapons who have only blamed one thing the whole time. It's crazy. One player being out never warrants a drop-off or a run of form of that level. It's crazy. And I think, listen, not just Arsenal in these couple of games, but we've seen Liverpool without Salah for like 2 months, and I think they won nearly every single game. It was a crazy excuse that the mainstream media shamelessly pushed upon the footballing world. Do me a big favor, though, people, and hit the like button if you haven't done so already. What are we looking on likes now? We're sitting there on 1,500 likes, which is amazing. Let's get this past the 2,000 mark whilst we are live as well. I want to do some of your super chats before bringing my panel out today. And I have been told in the comment section that there's a certain someone online who's very angry right now. There's a certain somebody online who's not been happy for this last hour. He's got the link for the show. Husam, bring yourself here. Come here, you pussy in a tree. We want to know what's going on. I don't know why you have been bugging out, but DMs. Husam's getting mad. Husam's getting mad. Husam's getting mad. They could all be lying to me, by the way. But I want to know what's going on with that pussy cat in a tree. So get yourself on the show, brother. Super chat time, people. Terry, how can you say Arsenal have closed the gap? Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I put that in the title just for Arsenal's rivals to see if they get triggered by the mathematical fact that's in the comment in the title. It's scarily scary that scary Arsenal are scary. We're scary that second half, I'm telling you. Hit the like button, chats. Come on, you Gooners. Thank you very much, Luke Skywalker. I appreciate that. Thank you very much here to Paul for becoming a brand new member of the Football Terrace. Thank you very much indeed. Brentford had 22 out of 27 points at home before today. Went 1-0 up, and then we beat them. That's what I needed to see. Waneri was class. Rivals will cry. Kenny, what will happen is that everything now will be rewritten about Brentford. And this isn't just because it's Arsenal. United get this treatment. I'm doing a video on it at the moment with collating a lot of things people have said over the last year about my club, and now they're saying the complete opposite. Just to show, like, it's not about catching people out. It's just be a little consistent, man. Like, have some fun and banter, but be consistent. Before the game, tough place to go. No Saka. Home record's great. Arsenal are going to struggle. They win 3-1. They win quite comfortably in the end. And it's Brentford. Brentford. Yeah, it's so embarrassing, man. Come with some analysis. Terry, today is my birthday. A great birthday gift. Come on, you Gooners. We keep moving. We have to sign an attacker this January. First of all, happy birthday, Olu. Hope you have a wonderful day with your friends and family, whoever you're with. And yeah, I agree. Look, today was an excellent result. The last two games have been good results for Arsenal. But I think you do need to go out in January and add some more star quality. I do agree with that. That 6-point gap is going to be hard to close down. You've got to go away to Anfield. And I think if you add a bit more firepower and you maybe start, winning some more games and scoring a few more goals and have that potency, it might just put a little doubt into your opponents. And I think you have to sometimes do that. Thank you here to Anthony for being a member here for 14 months. You're a legend. Thank you very much indeed. Why are people hating on Arsenal for scrappy goals? It is not Arsenal's fault. The other teams can't clear their lines. Look, I haven't seen too much in these comment sections about it. Maybe I haven't been looking at the chat while I was talking, so I missed it. But this is what I would say. This would be what I would present to Arsenal fans as a kind of rebuttal for you if you're in debates with friends, family, online about it. Arsenal was slagged off for a period of about 15 years for not scoring enough scrappy goals, for trying to walk the ball into the net, for not being a little bit grittier. What I find hilarious is that people now slag them off for being more like they were like rivals. Oh, you should be more like this. You should be more like that. What I saw today as well is Arsenal ain't entertaining. Nor have City been for the last 8 years. Because the vast majority of their games, they play beautiful football, but they dominated them so much it wasn't competitive. But it's not City's obligation, and it isn't Arsenal's obligation now to impress rivals. I know people watch football for entertainment, but no football club has on their agenda, right, we have to entertain those Chelsea fans. Listen, bro, we've got to entertain the Football Terrace audience today. Don't care if we lose, got to entertain the Football Terrace community. Come on now. Imagine they did that. Crazy. Mbeumo, you passed the audition. Arteta has a big job for you at the Emirates. Happy New Year, Terry. Thank you, Manny. And look, they've said that it's going to cost a lot of money to get him out. And look, they're chasing a European position themselves. I think probably for the first time in their history. Look, it'll be a lot of money, but I think he's a really talented player. I like him a lot. 3 goals from 3 players who we needed to step up. 3 points and we move. Yeah, and not one single assist. All 3 goals didn't get assists, I believe, unless I'm wrong. Yeah, none of the goals got assists. That would be a quiz question. What game did Arsenal score 3 goals in this season where nobody got an assist? Like, that's a really tough quiz question because most goals have them. But yeah, no assists in 3 goals. Before the match, everyone was saying Brentford has had the best home record apart from Liverpool, but we win and it's only Brentford jokers. Well, that tells you there's something up. I'll give you an example. And I'm going to look at all the faces of the Gooners backstage that are currently doing this about Man United. When Ten Hag was our manager, people were like, keep Ten Hag, keep Ten Hag. Have you noticed what rivals now are saying about Amorim, even though we're losing? Got to sack him, bro. He's got to get rid of his principles. You've got to move him on. You know, it's how when there's a manager there that could get it right, they want him gone. Okay? Yet when there's a manager they know is failing, it's, no, keep him, bruv. Keep him. There's a different energy. The fact you've seen this different energy, I've said it before, people don't want to admit it. Certain rivals at certain clubs are threatened by you. If they weren't, they wouldn't flip like that. It's that feeling of being, it's that inferior feeling that some people get. And do you know what's really funny? I enjoy it. I like that people do it because that's one of the things that I've grown to love about this industry is watching it. I just absolutely adore it. I really do. It's fun to me personally. So please don't stop it, people. It's great. Smash the like buttons. Come on, you Gooners, is what Pete Kenny says here. Arsenal played so much better without Havertz. It's a great... do you know what? I'll be honest with you. You're the first person that I've seen say that in the comment section. And yeah, he wasn't there today. They looked a lot better. But I also thought, you know, Declan Rice wasn't in the team today either. And I wouldn't necessarily... And Saka wasn't in the team. So is it because Kai Havertz wasn't there? Potentially. But there was other players missing as well. But yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. Man United will beat Liverpool as for us to sign Zava. Listen, if Man United beat Liverpool this weekend, I will do the stream in my underpants. My boxers. I don't wear underpants. But why did Matt just celebrate backstage? That's weird, Matt. Matt, what are you doing, G? It's cool. It's cool. Now we know. Now we know. Wow. Does it count though? But when Liverpool win, it's injuries. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by that, Andrew. I'm missing the point there a little bit, my friend. Not from me. I didn't say that. Are you talking about what rivals have said? Let me know. We need to keep getting W's to keep the pressure on Liverpool. Absolutely. You've got to, I think it's 3 wins on the bounce now. That might be in all comps, actually. In the Prem, 2 wins on the bounce. I mean, you're unbeaten in 9 in the Prem, but you've got 3 draws in there. It will be interesting to see what happens to the league title race. If Arsenal could, say, win their next 3 or 4 matches, there's some real tough ones in there. Brighton away, Wolves away, home to Villa and Spurs. Come out of them with 4 wins. The lie of the land could look a little different, but you have got to win them. You are right. You have got to win them. 12 games unbeaten now for Arsenal in all competitions. It's very, very good. But a few people... I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it. There's Man United fans out there that are like, Arsenal are washed. And I know you can always criticize a team if your team's bad, but you know when you just think you don't have to be the best team in England to criticize other teams, all right? I stand by that. But sometimes I just think, read the room! Read the room! Bruv! Read the fucking room, my G. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. First winners of 2005. It's true. I'm going to push back on that one, though. That's just the way the fixtures went. If you had to play New Year's Eve and someone else played today, you wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? But I hear you. I hear you. Well, hey, Matt. Is that about me streaming in my boxers? Okay. Well, you know me. I'm very secure in my sexuality. So that's fine. Fine by me if you're excited about that. You can be. It's not going to make me feel weird about myself. But in any capacity, you do you, brother. Right, time for the panel now, my people. What are the likes there? Let me look at these likes now. Over 2,000 likes. Unbelievable. I want to thank you all very, very much for doing that as well. Let's bring the panel out. Who we got? We've got Sulz, we've got Saab, we've got Trimless, we've got Matt, we've got Ash, we've got Brendon, we've got Omar. There was someone else backstage a minute ago. Nathan's here as well. We've got a lot of people. We've got a lot of people. Nathan's here too. Sulz is here. Saab's in the house. Ash is here. We have Brandon, Omar, Nathan, Trimless. That is a big, big panel today. Gunnar Sulz. A few injuries today or illnesses today. No Saka as well. But job done. 3 goals, smash past a very, very difficult away team.
Hey, look, we made it difficult for ourselves, especially in the first half performance where we did look a little bit lapsadaisical. It was like everyone was hungover from a New Year's party or something, because I don't know what that first half was about, but it kind of shows our tenacity and our ability to stay resilient and actually go to a ground which has been very difficult for a lot of Premier League teams and go and get a win. This isn't the first time where we've gone over to Brentford at the G-Tech and actually beaten them with injuries and with players being out. And I think this is a sign of champions, in my opinion. Like, you know, when you've got this much adversity, you've not got Kai Havertz, we've not got Declan Rice in the starting lineup there, and obviously Bukayo Saka being out, it was whether Ethan Nwaneri could step up to the pressure and actually perform to the level that Bukayo Saka can. Because if, for example, this went wrong, if Ethan's appointment into the first team went wrong, that's all on Arteta for for bringing him in and actually trusting him, because people aren't going to look at it as all the fans had asked for this. They would have turned it on the manager. Why did you do it? Regardless of what our narratives and opinions online were going to be, why don't we give the youngster a chance? And then when he does, and if he did flop his opportunity, it all comes back on the manager for picking it. And obviously today as well, Gabriel Jesus had a big point to prove. Can he still keep that form going? And he got us back into the game. A poacher's finish, something that we've been asking him to do: be in the box, be a fox in the box, sniff out the opportunities, and that's what he did. Martinelli getting a goal, is that a sign of things to come? Is this a new 2025, new me, new year, new me kind of situation? So things, and I think this is a message to Liverpool, because they were definitely warming up their hands, saying that, Bukayo Saka's injury is going to mean Arsenal start dropping off. We're going to start losing games. We're going to start looking unconvincing. We've had a lot more adversity than just Bukayo Saka, and we absolutely blitzed them in the second half. And this goes to show, this is Arteta telling the team to keep the press high, to keep the attacking energy, to keep the energy high in these games. But it's the team they're unable to do it for 90 minutes, because as soon as the team talk happens, that's when you know what the manager's instructions are. Within 5 minutes, we're winning in the game. And they were 2-1 up. Ethan, obviously, from the corner, and Moreno scores. Ethan having an exceptional game. It's taking it one game at a time. I've got to calm it down. Obviously, the hunt is still on. I'm not going to back away from that talk. And yes, 9 points may seem like an impossibility, but this is a sign of things to come. Even without Bukayo Saka, we managed to, convincingly beat Brentford. They had their opportunities, but we were just better on the day.
Yeah, listen, I hear exactly where you're coming from there, Saad. How did you find today? Yes, I suppose you'd be disappointed to go a goal behind, but of course, a very difficult away ground to win at in general, let alone from 1-0 down.
Yeah, listen, it is a difficult place to go 100%, but you are right. I was fuming after that first goal, bro. I was screaming. I was fuming because it's a stupid error which we did ourselves, which leads to the goal, and it's just schoolboy errors, to be honest, in my personal opinion. But we managed to bring it back, managed to get the win, and it is a tough place to go, Brentford. It's not an easy place. The fans don't make it an easy place, especially, but obviously, we managed to get out of there with the win, 3-1, pretty comfortable in the second half. And listen, I just want to go in a bit more in depth on Ethan Nwaneri, because I feel like we don't understand. Like, this guy is a youngster, bro, and for him to come in and just do that in his first start in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is remarkable for him to just how comfortable he was on the ball. The only thing, I think, on the ball he was comfortable. His movement was okay. But the only thing I think he needs to work on is that whole connection that Saka and Martin Odegaard have, where they both know exactly the runs that they're going to make, which I think he's going to learn that the more he plays with Odegaard. Do you know what I mean? I think this is the first time we've seen them in that kind of position. So he's got to have time, and we got to allow him some time to learn that. Do you know what I mean? But I think, regardless, he was forward thinking, always looking to go forward, always looking to pass the ball forward. Do you know what I mean? And it's a breath of fresh air, to be honest, from what we've been seeing, because I just want a lot of these players, because in the first half, I think one of the main things I was saying is, like, there was no real urgency to go forward. And I've been saying this for the last 3-4 games. There's no urgency to go forward and get the ball as quickly to the attackers as possible so we can get on goal as quickly as we can. But in the second half, obviously, we came out with a lot more intensity, went into another gear and decided to score those goals. And then after that, it was just cruise control, to be honest, is what we can call it. It's cruise control. And we were just managing the game. Do you know what I mean? Brentford might have had a couple of chances. 1 or 2 were dangerous, but we managed the game very well. And listen, you have to give credit to Arteta where it's due, for obviously speaking to them at halftime, because normally his halftime speech is, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't go well, and we've seen it on a number of occasions. But I'm happy with the performance that we did in the second half, much better to what we did in the first half. And yeah, I'm happy that the team got the win, man. And now everybody knows the whole situation with me. I think the title's gone, but I still expect this team to win. I still expect them to go out there and win, just to at least keep the pressure on in case something remarkable happens where they drop points, where we can catch up to them. So just keep them getting wins.
Do you know what's interesting about? I like you have that attitude. I don't watch it as much now because my life's different. But I used to watch a lot of tennis, And sometimes I watch a tennis player and there'd be, I don't know, 5-0 down in a set. And there'd be 30 love down, but they still fight for every point. And I used to just think, why don't you just lose this one game, lose the set and start again? And then somebody asked Andy Murray that question about a year later in a press conference. And he just sort of said, because that 1 point can start a revival. You get a great point and your confidence goes up, or they have a couple of bad shots. And it says, if you just start letting games go, letting sets go, you may never get the momentum. And that's what's important for Arsenal to do, is try and create a momentum where if there suddenly is a loss of confidence, they did it recently, Liverpool, where they drew 2 games in a bounce. Who knows what would have happened if they had played Everton? They could do that again in a couple of weeks. And if you guys are winning and suddenly the gap goes to 4 points, to 3 points, the pressure's different. So, yeah, again, it's your club. It's for you guys to say. But if Man United were in that position and we were sort of 9 points behind when all games were being equal, I'd be angry if we gave up than not winning the league. The giving up early would piss me off more. Trimless, I know you've got to shoot in a minute, bro. What do you want to say, brother?
Yeah, man. Happy New Year, everyone. The chat, all the people on the panel. Come on, 2025, more success, more blessings, all of that. Terry, I just want to give my condolences for tomorrow in advance. But now the game today was Arteta managed.
What's happening tomorrow?
United's funeral, bro. I can't lie. So I'm just giving my condolences from now.
Okay, cool. So I thought it was actually a game tomorrow, and I was like, where's my schedule? I'm out. Sorry, Trimless. Back to you, bro. Back to you.
The United game. But I thought Arteta got it spot on today. Obviously, the first goal conceding was poor. Mandem, what do you think? Does Skelly concede that? Calafiori getting a bit cooked a bit easy now.
He does. Skelly doesn't do that, bro. MLS, if he was on the pitch, bro,
easy.
No, look. That's it. Doesn't matter who was there. It's the lack of commitment from defenders.
Why are you letting a left-footed player cut in and shoot? You're letting a left-footed player cut in and shoot, bro.
Saliba done it recently as well. This is the thing of we just keep backing away from tackles and commitment on the transition. I don't know what it is. It's not just a one-player problem.
But I think we need to look at the perpetrator, because when you look at it in reality, right? If you look at it in reality, we got to look at Odegaard, because Odegaard misplaces the pass and then he can take the man down, right? And that's what he should do. That's gamesmanship, right? Knowing that you've put your team in a vulnerable situation and you take the man down, you take the yellow card and you bite the bullet. Instead, he allows the player to pass and then he creates that situation where there's panic. Gabriel should also come and cover with Calafiori. Calafiori didn't look confident. Of course, he's been out for a little bit. But again, he's not a natural left back, and that's the whole point of playing, putting square pegs in round holes. But for me, it was a series of errors as opposed to just looking at Calafiori and trying to pinpoint him with all the blame. I think Odegaard was the biggest criminal in that.
No, I wasn't even trying to like pinpoint in it, because for me, like the game, like I feel like Arteta got it like spot on. Obviously, like the individual mistake there, but I think like the management today was good. And like look at the difference with Partey in midfield, man. Like we're so much more comfortable playing up for the back and moving forward. And obviously Timber not being able to play against Brighton, we already know he's gonna slap Partey back in right back. So I'm not as confident going into, because I saw the lineup today. I know there's key players missing, but I actually looked at it and said, it's good balance. Like I think like we can go into this game and get something. So I know a lot of people were saying, Brentford away, Brighton away is a tricky one. But actually, our away record against Brighton isn't even bad. People just does one game and then people just run with that. But yeah, so obviously today was going to be a challenge. Everyone was like, Arsenal, Saka FC, set piece FC. Again, we've won the game without Saka. Again, we've won the game scoring goals from open play. Rivals just love crying and complaining. I love it, bro. I love it. I wish all the goals were from corners. I can't even lie. But we will continue to move. Waneri, like getting his debut. Was lovely to see as well, because I was actually interested, like who's he going to start in the right wing, because I thought he was going to bang Martinelli in there, I'll be real, and put Trossard on the left. So I'm happy that he took the risk with Waneri. I think he has a thing with playing Waneri against Brentford anyway, because that's how it all started. So he took the risk and it paid off, and I'm happy. We've got to keep putting the pressure on Liverpool. At this point, I'm kind of with Sard on the thing that the title's gone. So all we can do is just collect the points, put pressure on, do our bit in it. At this point, we can just do our bit, do our piece. Last year we went on a run, so why can we not do it again this year? We need to spend in January. Let's be real. I still think we need to get a striker. Let's. I know Jesus has been on form in the last 4 games, but let's be real. That's not going to be for 40 games. So yeah, we got to do something. There's trophies out there for us to win, even if we can't grab the Prem. Why not? Like let's actually. I'm hearing the board said they're happy to spend P. I know they say that every year, but I'll believe it when I see it.
You bid. You bid 80 million for Caicedo. You bid 80 million for Mudryk. Thank God, from your perspective, you didn't get him. You broke records with, signings like Declan Rice. The money's there. I think what you said there is right, though. Jesus' little run of form deserves credit and praise, but no Arsenal fan, and definitely the Arsenal board, shouldn't get suckered in by it. Do you know what I mean? Because even if it ain't form, he could sprint tomorrow and something goes. Do you know what I'm saying? So you've got to spend, definitely. Brandon.
I love you, man.
Yeah, cheers, Trimless. Thank you for coming on, bro. Appreciate it. Happy New Year, brother. Speak soon. Cheers, my man. Brandon, what did you make of today, my guy?
Game of two halves, Tell. That's the best way to describe it. First half, we was absolute arse, to be honest with you. It was shockingly poor. Having said all of that, I agree with the lads in what they said about Arteta getting it absolutely spot on today. It was nice to see Ethan Nwaneri finally get a start. Bit of a surprise that he was played on the right-hand side in Bukayo Saka's position, but I think going forward, that's what we need to start doing, because you see today that when you've got two creative players in the midfield, it don't make it as easy for teams to defend against. And I thought he had a really good game today, Ethan Nwaneri. In fact, I'll go as far as saying Ethan Nwaneri showed Odegaard up today, to be honest with you. I thought Odegaard was really poor today. Really, really poor. But, yeah, I mean, the first goal, such a poor goal to concede. And, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why you don't just fully blame Calafiori. But we see this on a number of occasions with Calafiori. Not just Calafiori either. Every single person that Mikel Arteta plays at left back that is not a left back. Yeah, this is the issue with playing, as Nathan said, square pegs, round holes. He's not naturally a left back. He's not naturally going to take up left back positions. Although, having said that, he is a defender and he should do a lot better in that scenario. He was really, really bad today. Again, Calafiori, and I know he's just come back from an injury, but these are the certain things that you have to be critical of, because in all honesty, we didn't deserve to go in at 1-1 at half time. We was quite fortunate with the goal. And if we hadn't have gone in at 1-1 at half time, then maybe we don't change that game around. Having said that, though, the second half was much better. Come out, get 2 goals early, and then see the game out. That's what you want to see. We didn't need to go gung ho after scoring the 2 goals in the second half. You go 3-1 up. You see the game out, don't take any risks. And, again, I think Arteta with his substitutions got that absolutely spot on. But the other thing that I really don't like seeing, and I'm going to point this out from the first half, because Sulz was talking about the manager and the manager's instructions, right? The number of times that we had opportunities to counter-attack on Brentford, and then we'd get to the byline and play the ball backwards or sideways, and allow them to get themselves back into position again, and then wonder why we struggle to break down these 2 banks of 4. We did the same thing against Ipswich, and we struggled to create chances. We did the same thing against every single low block team, or team that tries to low block us and then hit us on the counter attack. I just cannot understand why Arsenal, when they have the opportunity to hit teams on the counter attack, they get to the final third and then they slow it all down. It makes absolute zero sense to me. And the reason why I can say this is the manager's instructions is because Ethan Nwaneri came in to the Arsenal side today, and I'm seeing him do the same thing. So that is clearly a manager's instruction. But
why is Arteta barking instructions that say otherwise? We've heard him say it. We've heard him on the TV.
Correct. Cool. I've also heard him barking instructions on the sidelines to Martinelli when he's running down the wing, saying, "Don't lose the ball, don't lose the ball." So in some moments, yeah, maybe, but in other moments, no, because it seems to be this retain possession, recycle the ball, and I get it, right? If you've got the ball,
he's literally called the entire squad out.
Sorry, guys, can I just interject? Sorry, Sulz, can I ask a question? Are you seeing this at 0-0, or are you talking about when it was 3-1?
No, I'm talking about this when in the first half. Okay. Arsenal in the first half, when we was, I think it was either 0-0 or we was 1-0 down. But we had opportunity. I think, in fact, the perfect example was when David Raya fumbled the bag and then had to make that save on the line. Yeah, Arsenal had the opportunity to go up the other end. A lot of Brentford players had committed themselves forward. Arsenal had the opportunity to go up the other end and hit them on the counter attack, and we got ourselves into a good position as well. There was a lot of Brentford players out of position, and we get to the byline and we slow it all down again. And I see this consistently from Arsenal. So this is why I think we have issues to break down low block teams, because if we don't move the ball quick enough and we don't counter attack quick enough and we're constantly moving the ball backwards, then you're allowing players to get back into their positions. But that's the only criticism really that I have of the team and Arteta today. Like that first half performance and just us in terms of breaking down low blocks. Aside from that, I think we played the game perfectly. So
you know what I don't understand right about that goal that we conceded was that it's low XG. We're doing it game after game, especially in away games. We give them that little opportunity and they'll score from it, and then they'll go to Chelsea and have 2 XG and they won't even score. It frustrates me quite a lot.
I understand where you're coming from. Arsenal have conceded a good few goals this year. The one that stands out the most to me is the
Fulham goal.
No, Justin's volley from the edge of the box. Like you can see a few goals this year where that. But that goal today, though, Matt, if I'm being honest, there's the Odegaard mistake. Calafiori's defending.
Yeah.
But the reason that goal went in is because Raya anticipated the shot going to the other post, and then Mbeumo's seen it. It wasn't that great a shot. If Raya is literally standing in central to where he should be in that point, I think he saves that comfortably. It wasn't a powerful shot. It was accurate, but it was Mbappe does this amazingly when he goes through 1-on-1. He shapes like he's going to put it to the far corner, and then he cuts it into the near post as soon as he sees the goalkeeper commit to that side. Rooney used to be brilliant here. That's what. Listen, there was loads of mistakes to that goal, but yeah.
By the way, and just to bring you up on the David Raya thing as well. Another thing that I don't like at this moment in time, and I have this feeling that it's going to cost us in the end. David Raya seems to be coming further and further and further out of his goal, almost playing in a defensive position when Arsenal were building up from the back, right? Don't mind it, but today it's like when he's making costly errors like he did for the first goal, which, okay.
Brendon, are you 68? This is just modern football, mate. All the goalkeepers come.
No. I know it's modern football. I understand it's modern football, but also you've got to understand you're a goalkeeper. He's not fucking Manuel Neuer. And today he was acting like he was Manuel Neuer or part of the defence. And then he nearly made two costly errors off the back of it. So this is where
Brendon always mentions the weirdest points, honestly.
Yeah.
Let me talk. Let me just talk. I want to say something. First of all, there is no light on my screen because this game deserves no light. I've even blacked out my microphone because Arsenal were dead today. I don't know. I've never heard more waffle in the history of Football Terrace in my whole life. You know, this game right here, we keep talking about the Brentford goal was all Arsenal mistakes. Okay, Habibi. The Arsenal goal was also all Brentford mistakes. They literally scored 2 pinball goals where Flecken was unable to clear one. And the other one as well was literally 2 mistakes in a row. And then Martinelli scores from pinball, and then Martinelli scores. We always like to point out the positives that's happening in Arsenal's direction. No one here speaks about the negatives. Out here, everyone talking about, get me off full screen. Get me off full screen. You can clip me up even when I'm not on full screen, Terry. You know, I don't want to take over the Football Terrace. But when it comes I'm used to the big screen. I've been on TV before. Anyway, when it comes to this conversation, look, I'm just everyone sat here talking about this great, unbelievable Arsenal. Like we watched a different game. Okay, the Brentford scored from a series of Arsenal mistakes. Okay, guess what? Arsenal scored from a series of Brentford mistakes. So where do we go from here? Why do we never say the stuff about the other direction? It's always like, oh my God, look, Arsenal is so amazing. You literally scored 3 pinball goals, literally the 3 jammiest goals I've seen all year long. You know, and Brentford, you're talking about your injuries. Oh my God, we were against the grain. Havertz was injured. Have 3/4 of the Brentford players are injured, you frauds. Why don't you talk about the other side as well of the equation? Brentford had 3/4 of their team out. So like everyone coming here acting like this is this marvelous win that's gonna send spine-tingling effects across the league is so full of shit. Today's game, makes me rest reassured that the
Well,
one
off the
second,
back of that-
Brandon, makes
hang
me
on,
rest
off the- hang
reassured
on.
that
Off
the
the back of
hyenas
that-
are nothing but. يا أخي, let me land. يا أخي, the
Off the
hyenas
back
are
of that
nothing but
statement, then.
loud animals that have no capability of doing anything, because this game does not show me that I'm supposed to sit up here and like, you know, be like, wow, Arsenal are so amazing. Today doesn't prove anything.
Can I ask you a question,
Today's
though?
game was a boring game of football
Sorry.
where Arsenal scored
Sam.
3 lucky goals, and that's how they ended up with the 3 points.
Husam,
Say it
okay.
as it is.
Okay, Sam. Okay, so to your point, who has sat on the football terrace and said that this win is sending spine-tingling fear down any opponent of Arsenal's back? Who has said that?
The fraud with the hat.
Okay,
There's only
Husam, my mum taught me a valuable lesson. You've got 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen before you respond. I never
I
said
did
this-
listen.
I did not say what you just said.
That's why I
said,
darked out my
said
room.
performances like this, when you have got adversity, can send messages to the opponent. I didn't say it
Can
has.
send them.
And I'm not-
Did Brentford have adversity today? Can you tell them something?
There's only one person on this panel with
Why are
spin.
you not responding? Can you tell me
Hang on.
why? Did Brentford have adversity?
There's only one person on this panel with
How many players
spine-tingling
from
fear
Brentford
right now, and that is the guy at the bottom left who refuses to sit there and back his team as winning the league. So talking about Arsenal and, this performance doesn't send spine-tingling things down the league. Well, I expect you to now say then, Husam, that you are the favourites to win the league. Am I right?
Okay, Brandon, welcome to the terrace, my brother. As you can see on the top left, the title of the stream is Brentford versus Arsenal highlights.
Oh, here we go. Here we
Can I
go.
can I ask you a
I'm
question,
not here
Sam,
to
then,
talk
yeah?
about Liverpool, mate. I'm here to talk about Arsenal.
Of course, you deflect from that because earlier on in the season, I saw him screaming "Golazzo, Golazzo, Golazzo" when Liverpool put 3 past Man United from 3 Man United mistakes. This weekend, if they pump Man United and we're making mistake after mistake, he'll celebrate and he'll be saying, "What is it? What is your little saying? Amazing."
Yeah, but what did I just say?
Brilliant wonderment, or whatever that bollocks is you say.
Yeah, but what did I just say? See, you never say the truth. You always misquote me. You always misquote me. Say the truth. Your face was turning red and your veins were popping on straight facts because I misquoted you. Say the whole quote I just gave. What's the whole quote?
What quote?
I didn't just say that Arsenal scored from Brentford mistakes. I said Brentford also scored from Arsenal mistakes. But my problem was listening to everyone is acting like all the Arsenal goals came through brilliant play. They didn't.
Can I tell you guys, I'll fly back to you guys in a minute. I hear your point there, Husam, but to answer it properly is this. You know, when you've won a lot of games this season, Liverpool, where your opponents have made mistakes, but the frequency of those mistakes is because of the higher pressure, quality balls that your team puts upon them. So, for instance, today, that first goal of Arsenal's excellent counter-attack, really good press on the edge of the box that forced their players into mistakes, an excellent shot from Partey, which forces a save from the goalkeeper, which is then put in as an example. We all know that Arsenal's corners and set pieces create chaos. That doesn't need any explanation as to why that is more by design than luck today for Arsenal because of its frequency. And look, the third goal, yes, it was a brilliant cross from Nwaneri. It was such a good cross, the clearance was difficult because he crossed early, which meant the defender wasn't set. And then it was a brilliant finish. So I ain't stating that there wasn't any fortune to those goals, but most of the top teams score goals, which I often consider to have a little bit of luck. But when they keep getting that luck, I keep the same energy. It's because of the quality and the pressure. Why do the better attacking teams consistently, year on, year out, win more penalties than the worst attacking teams by and large?
Brentford's goal is also through the quality and pressure of Brentford then.
So I'll tell you where Brentford's goal is good, and they do this on a regular basis. Yes, absolutely. Is they can win what they do a lot as a team is they invite the pressure on them. They invite the press, so that they can pass through very directly. Now, they didn't need to press to win that ball back because it was a poor pass from Odegaard, but they are a team, and I think it was Mbeumo himself that said it. We are a team that can get the ball in our own box, and within 3 moves or 3 passes, 3 touches, it can be checkmate and they can score. So the frequency of them doing it is why it's crazy. Now, from an Arsenal point of view, they're going to focus on their team's mistakes. Of course they are. But at the same time, Brentford fans will say that's what we do. So there is an element of course, when people review their own teams, there's going to be an element of bias. I will openly admit, when it comes to the terrace, we always say this. we always focus on the member of the traditional top 6 when we're giving analysis more so than the opponent. So I get your point. But you just seem really rattled, my friend, and I don't understand why. Because
I'm not rattled. I'm annoyed because I feel like there is always like one-sidedness to these debates. I understand what you're saying. Of course, I know. It's the same as my channel. I'm not out here doing, Man United and Wolves analysis. I only talk about the top clubs. I agree with you. But the reality of the situation is today's game, okay, Brentford scored from an Arsenal mistake, no problem. But actually, Brentford's goal was more beautiful than any of the Arsenal goals because that finish from Mbeumo was a world-class finish. The Arsenal goals all came from Brentford errors. So let's not say one side. And Gooner Sulz is talking about adversity because Havertz is injured. Brentford had about 8-9 injuries as well.
Martinelli wasn't a good finish. Martinelli wasn't a good finish. Are you skunk?
So which one was a better finish, Martinelli or Mbeumo? Be honest.
Gabriel Martinelli.
I think it's Gabriel Martinelli, bro.
Wow.
What are we talking about, bro?
Martinelli literally hit it on the volley.
What are we doing?
That Mbeumo finish from that angle with Calafiori in front of him, hitting it near post. That's like Salah. That's like Jamal.
Can I just say something very quickly?
Yes, go on,
yes, but listen. Okay, so I see where basically the Arsenal fans are coming from. I get where Husam is coming from. Listen, let me just say this, right? All 3 goals today were 3 avoidable goals if you look at like defensively the mistakes and everything else. But if I'm going to give an honest assessment when it comes to this game, is that sometimes you have to be there to capitalize on the mistakes when they're handed to you, right? And that's what Arsenal did amazingly well today. Positioning, they were in the right places at the right time to finish up those chances, right? And listen, that first half, if I'm going to be real, it was a poor first half from Arsenal, right? Brentford took the lead. The Arsenal were not really booking their ideas in that first half. But once they got that equalizing goal, you could see they got motivation from that, and it's what spurred them on in the second half. And listen, I'm going to be very honest, right? I will give credit to Arteta for the lineup. I'm very impressed with the fact that he gave Ethan an opportunity today, right? Because this looked like one of those games where he could have easily benched Ethan because it was an away game to a team, that do very well at home. But he was very, very brave today to basically bring 2 players who are very, very good creative-wise since you've lost a player like Saka, to give an opportunity to Ethan Nwaneri, even though when he played him out in the right, I was very surprised by that. But listen, Ethan today was arguably for me one of your best players today, right? In that second half, he had a great game, right? And I'll be very honest with you, there were obviously, you could always break things down and say, there's things that Arsenal definitely should improve on. But I will say this, right? At the end of the day, when you see Liverpool in the form that they're in, sometimes when you have games like this, you just have to take it. You understand what I'm saying, right? You just have to be, all right, cool. There's things we need to improve on. There's things we need to work on. But listen, we got the win, which is what matters. Away to Brentford has never been. It's not an easy team to play against. I know they lost their last game.
Did you just say we? Are you an Arsenal fan?
I'm not. I'm speaking from an Arsenal point of view.
My bad. Sorry. I thought he's an Arsenal. My bad.
No.
No, I'm not. I like doing this where I talk from an Arsenal point of view. And listen, I'm not speaking for Arsenal fans because Arsenal fans may look at it very different from the way I say it. But I'm just kind of looking at this from a neutral point of view, right? If Arsenal are really serious about trying to win this league, I said it to you last time I was here, Husam, where I said teams that challenge for the league or teams that win the league are now always going to have 5-star games. You're going to have these games where you're going to struggle. You guys literally had that against Leicester. You were 1-0 down. They were very good defensively, and you had to break them down and get the win from going from behind, right? And Arsenal today against Brentford, they were on the back foot. They were 1-0 down. They didn't play well in that first half. They got an equalizing goal. You can say it's a jammy goal. Say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, they were in the right place at the right time to get those goals. And what matters is leaving Brentford with 3 points. And with everything that people have been saying about Arsenal, with the Saka injury, how are they going to deal with it, this and this and this, I still think, I'll be honest, I still think they're still going to struggle without Saka. I'm not gonna sit here and say just because of the win today, my opinion and basically what I think is still changed. It's still not changed because I still see the
Omar, you want to know the problem with everything you said? That they aren't saying this before I came here. They were not saying this. They're doing all this like kumbaya. We came up against adversity and we did this. If they came out here and said, "Listen, today's performance was not unbelievable. We were lucky with the way that we scored the goal."
I'm stopping you, Husam, because that isn't true. Brandon was getting cooked for being too negative.
Yes, you, Brandon. To be fair.
As an example, and I also know as well, Husam, that if I would have done an Man United Newcastle match reaction and just said, their 2 goals came from our mistakes. In fact, their whole pressure came from my manager's mistakes of picking the wrong midfield. Everybody, including you, would have gone, no, give Newcastle credit. They capitalised. They stepped on the opportunities. They finished the chances. But because Arsenal fans have done the opposite, where they've spoke about the good things their team did, you're fuming about it. For me, and that's fine. You're allowed to. You're a rival of theirs. You're allowed to do it. You're not hosting a neutral show. But for me, you're just showing that maybe this is why you do think Arsenal are favourites and you feel really pressured by them. Maybe that's what you're showing here.
You're a Liverpool fan, right? And you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. You've seen Trent Alexander-Arnold. You've seen Robertson put balls into box to create chaos, and you've exploited mistakes of defenders. We've seen the same with KDB. One of the things that I've been critical of my team is not creating enough chaos, putting balls into boxes in dangerous areas and getting goals of them. That is how you. That is.
And that's what Arsenal did today. Let's be real.
Right.
That's what Arsenal did today. They created chaos, and Brentford were making mistakes in the back, and then they capitalized on it.
And if you look at the match today, more people on the stream have come on and said we're not favourites after that. The performance wasn't inspiring, right? I think only one person has come on, and that's Sulz has come on and said spoken with a bit of chest. Everybody else, I think Sard, I think Brandon, and I think it was Trimless, never came on here with no chest. So for you to come on here and be like, we sat here, we turned the whole thing into a like.
Hey, listen, if the shoe fits, if it doesn't mean you, then it doesn't mean you. It's okay.
But this is the Husam. I will say this though, but this is the Husam.
If it don't apply, let it fly. It's an
Husam. Here's the thing.
It's this idea that you've got, that there was no. That's like you playing without Salah, by the way. There is adversity when you don't have Salah in your team. That is your team facing adversity. It's not about Havertz.
And you're missing the point, Husam, that I think I was talking about. No, you're missing the point. You're missing the point about what I said, and you're right. Brentford had players missing, but that didn't stop. I would say 60 to 70% of Arsenal's detractors and rivals before the game saying they're going to drop points. So there wasn't this. Oh, do you know what? Brentford have got 7 or 8 players out. Therefore, I think Arsenal are going to get the win. It was Arsenal are dropping points. There's no Saka. They're in trouble. So I'm talking about then people's reactions saying, well, it's only Brentford. They had problems. You should be factoring that into your predictions ahead of time for credibility, in my personal opinion, as opposed to moving the goalposts after the fact is more what we're talking about. I want to get some more opinions on this. We've got some super chats to come. Keep hitting the like button for us, people. Ash, you've been sitting with us a while, mate. Wanted to get your view on today, brother.
Yeah, look, I thought it was very poor first half. I think we're lucky that we got that first goal, because had we gone into halftime 1-0 down, I worry about how the confidence. No, I mean lucky in the sense that we were able to come back, Husam, not in the sense that we didn't deserve to win. I think had we gone into halftime only 1-0 down, like 1-0 down, it would have been a problem for us in the second half. I think we were very lethargic, very slow, which is issues we've seen against Everton and Fulham, but obviously we recovered well now. And that second half is exactly what we wanted. We came out with a lot of intensity, a lot of urgency. We can say pinball goals and lucky goals, but then this is the Premier League. Like Brentford away for most teams is difficult. So if you win 3-1, even if every single goal is an own goal, it's still a very good result. And they've only had like one defeat this season. I think the first defeat came like a couple of weeks ago. Although I did say, to be honest, their home form is a bit overhyped, because they haven't actually faced any other major teams at their home, or they only faced one before that. But look, it's still a very good result. Waneri on the right is exactly what I've been calling for. Like he's obviously not as good as Saka, but he's the closest profile we have to Saka, in my opinion. That can cause damage there, can dribble past people, can go on the outside and the inside. This Martinelli on the right thing is such a shitty experiment, and I'm glad he didn't go with it again this game. I just pray he doesn't do it against Brighton. By the way, I thought he had a bad game as well. I know he scored, but outside the goal, I thought he didn't do much, to be fair. I thought Waneri had the better game overall. And Havertz, I don't know what's with Havertz. I don't know if he's injured or if he's ill or he was. I'm not sure what the hell happened there. But
he was sick.
Fair. So obviously, wish him well. I wish he comes back, because we definitely would need someone like him, at least on the bench. But a silver lining about him being ill, and I don't wish illness on anyone. I'm glad that he's hopefully not injured and everything's fine. But I feel like we got a bit lucky in that regards, because if he was fit, I feel Arteta would have started him in the middle, which I think would have been a big problem in games like these. I like the lineup. I like the lineup he started with. I think Partey had an amazing game in terms of winning the ball back, initiating attacks, carrying it forward. And look, we take it one game at a time. I know Husam will say leopards in the tree and then off favorites, which obviously I know he doesn't really believe Liverpool are 100% favorites. I still think they'll win the league. The one thing I will say though, while I don't think we'll win the league, I still think they will win the league. The one solace we probably have is that if you look at the current top 10 in the Premier League, Liverpool have only played 2 of them away, and they've not won either one of them. Arsenal and Newcastle, which is fair. See, Husam, you're laughing even though you say leopard in the tree, but then you laugh. Yeah, exactly. It's like more cat in the tree, to be fair. But it is true though, Husam. They've only played 2 out of the top 10 away, and they've not won either one. So they still have to play Villa away, which we finished. They have to play Fulham away, which we finished. They have to play Chelsea away, which we finished. City away, which we finished.
Actually, you know what I find so funny is Husam laughs at that like you're discrediting his team, but he's the guy that says they're third favourites behind you and Nottingham Forest. So
who said that?
Not in the post. You can't have it both ways. You can't be third favourites.
No.
And then get angry when people say Arsenal have had the harder run so far. You think Arsenal winning the league, and you think Forest are winning the league over you. See, this is where Husam shows his bum. This is where he shows his bum live in front of 5,000 people. He gets
Terry, the other day he said we play more sustainable football.
Yeah, no. And I've got a super chat about Husam. Husam has been exposed here. Somebody here, Charles, was watching his watch along. He says, watch Husam's reaction to the Brentford goal. He shouts, I told you I had a good feeling about today, like Arsenal were going to lose. And now he's talking about Brentford having their team out. So you predicted a Brentford win, and now...
Yes. But that doesn't disprove anything. I was simply responding to what Gooner Sulz was saying, because Brentford had adversity too. So don't tell me that only Arsenal had it.
Okay, Husam, you're ignoring the fact that our 2 best goal scorers, Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz, are out. On top of that, this is the second time this season Arsenal have been able to turn around from a result from a losing effort. We've dropped points in every single game besides the Southampton game leading up to this, where we've lost or conceded the first goal. And that just goes to show you that not only were we going into this game with Ethan Nwaneri in the team, a 17-year-old filling in Bukayo Saka's boots, but everyone was losing their mind at the fact that we were going up against a transition team with Thomas Partey and Moreno in midfield and no Declan Rice. They're like, what is Arteta doing? People were questioning it. But you know what? Thomas Partey had a masterclass performance. You got to give him credit. Arteta trusted in Ethan. Ethan had a really good performance. I give him credit. And Jesus, we got to give Jesus credit. The guy's stepping up. The last 4 games, 6 goals. I did not expect this from him. I was writing him off. I thought he was done, but he might actually have fire under his belly, like he was saying. Martinelli is gaining confidence. Me and Deo were talking about a couple minutes ago on my channel. I think Martinelli is starting to gain confidence, and hopefully he can kick on from here. But one thing Martinelli needs to do better, when he's on the side and he has a player 1v1, he needs to learn how to utilize his pace better, because he doesn't do that enough. There's so many times where I look at him and I see a Luis Diaz or even an Anthony Gordon utilize their pace better than Martinelli does. So if he can learn that and add that element to his game, he'll be a much more dangerous player in that final third. As Martinelli, he still lacks that ability to switch positions and switch pace and switch speeds quickly. And then you go through and you look at the rest of the team. Calafiori needs to be questioned on the goal. Raya needs to be slightly questioned. But at the same time, what's the chance of that goal going in? Once again, Arsenal getting beat by a goal that's such low chance of going in. Poor defending, you could say poor goalkeeping, but fair enough to Mbeumo. He's on trial for many different clubs this January. So we'll see if you're interested in him. And finally, Martin Odegaard. What's going on with Martin Odegaard, guys? Because I don't think he looks.
He's got sleepless nights.
He doesn't. Man, he needs to tap that kid, man. Or he needs to rent a second.
So I saw you put in the group chat. Oh my
god, this kid has ruined him, man. He's not ready to be a parent. I'll tell you that now.
He's the only person who got worse during parenthood.
Honestly, man, he's got no sleep. Every pass is off, the press is off, yo. This kid is making him chase him already.
Yeah, man. Arteta needs to figure it out.
Who's coughing into the mic? Guys, this is a match reaction. Stop coughing into the mic, please.
No, but Husam, you You need
Mute
to
your mic and then cough. No, people in the audience don't want to hear you say.
يا اخي صير تقود انا خليني يا اخي
Stop coughing يا اخي. Cough.
قلت انا you're doing a madness bro. This guy just came
We're 6
in.
points behind Liverpool.
I hold this
Unless-
on KJ. I hold. Sorry, Gal. I'm going to come back to it. I put this on KJ. We are going to start implementing some more standards, and one of the standards needs to be, and I'm saying it now, when you're not talking, just mute yourself. It's in general, like, because you know it's not even coughing for me. Sometimes it's when I hear someone's missus or their mum bring in their food and put a plate down, they start eating. Or another one that gets on my nerves is when I can hear people typing away. When I can hear people typing on their keyboard. Fucking mute yourself. Sorry. Anyway,
in the middle of Egal speaking, Sad is just coughing into his microphone. Let Egal talk, man.
Go
ahead, Egal.
Sorry.
You need to put this leopard and tree stuff to bed. And coming on every match reaction talking about Liverpool, this is that. We're 6 points behind you. But
Gary, I have you by the balls, mate. You keep playing this picture as much as you want. I'm not gonna change my mind.
Hang on a minute. Hang on.
Not a single one of you. Let me respond.
On this stream, Matt wants to see me streaming my pants, and you're talking about touching my balls.
No. We're not talking about. We're saying that I have you on strings because you went to Google Images and you downloaded a picture of a cat on a tree and you put it on the StreamYard overlay. That's how much rent-free I live in all of your heads. And you, Terry. And everyone on the stream, not you or anyone in this chat can change my mind. I am the leader of this cult. And when I decide I want to come down from the tree, I will.
Are you allowed to be in a cult? Is that?
Yeah, this is what? We're the leader of the Leopard Nation. All the Leopard Nation is in the chat. They're rising already. They already know. That's how we move. Egal ain't gonna convince me to like, oh my god, stop it. Egal, you're the biggest gaslighter in this whole panel. No one gaslights as much as you. All it takes, because Egal, I'm probably the second longest serving member of the Football Terrace. Egal is the biggest OG on this whole stream. Forget Terry because he owns the channel. I'm talking about the panelists. The OG is Egal on everyone here. Egal, all it takes for him is 3-4 wins in a row, and he will come here and he will say worse stuff than what Gooner Sulz is saying. And he's the one telling me, come down from the tree, Husam. Come down from the tree. You're the biggest. You know, speaking of receipts, Egal 3 days ago tells me, congratulations, Liverpool, on winning the Premier League. Do you still think, say it in front of 5,000 people, congratulations, Liverpool, say it.
Yeah, Liverpool are going to go on to win this league. Let's be honest. Unless Arsenal go and utilize the January transfer window to go and sign some game changers to help us push on and start to win games with Bukayo Saka, which I don't know we'll be able to do. I hope we go and sign some major players.
Even then, Liverpool would still be favorites.
Unless we go and sign some major squad player, some squad what do you call it? Some reinforcement. Then we're not winning nothing. But right now, it's the January transfer window. Go and sign some players. It's January 1st. Go and ideally go get Mohamed Marmoush and go get Danny Almo on a free, and boom, we're good. Or why do I call it Mohamed? Omar.
You're thinking of Chris, but I started watching a bit of him. Yes, I played against him. I watched a bit of his footage yesterday, and then I played against him on FIFA. I don't know how quick he is in real life, but on FIFA, the man was tearing Maguire up in the Europa League game I played against him the other day. That's what I'm going to start doing now.
To be fair, it's Maguire, bro. I think I can.
Do you know what though? I do like about playing FIFA. Right, certain players' names, because the commentator keeps saying it. I'm going to learn these names better now. That's why I feel I get cooked by the youngsters when I don't know a player's name, and I'm like, I know you ain't got the knowledge. You just played FIFA, bro. It does help.
You're gonna start live streaming yourself playing FIFA?
No, I don't know, but maybe I've got to practice a lot first. Like, no, I'm building myself up. Like, I've got to a point on the level I'm at and the level of assistance I had to winning like loads of games, like 7-8-0, not conceding. So I've got until I'm like playing at legendary level with no assistance on, I'm not going to live stream anything. I want to train myself to get to that level. Then
not
I'll play
a lot of
real
people can do that, Terry. Let's be honest. The computer is mental. They'll like walk the ball.
Really? Is it that bad? Cheers to Sam. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go to Dio in a minute, but I want to go to some of these super chats here because I want to respect the audience here. This here says that the Arsenal panel, who replaces Timber against Brighton? Let me throw that to Dio. Who would you replace Timber with for the Brighton game, Dio?
Oh, that's a tough one for the Brighton game. I honestly don't know right now. I can't say off the top of my head. This yellow card, this 5 yellow card thing is just stupid to me. Honestly speaking, like, what are we doing? I think it's stupid. Like you get 5 yellow cards and then you miss a game. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense. Dio, stop it.
No, it's annoying.
Come on.
I'm saying it's
literally
annoying.
over 19
Yeah,
games.
We know it's going to be Partey though. Can we all admit?
I'm saying it's annoying because
yeah, but it's a mistake. It shouldn't be Partey.
Yeah, but
it's gonna be Partey.
Yeah, if you put Partey up against Matoma, it's gonna be a sight for
Bro,
sore eyes.
he put Partey
No, I'm
up
actually not worried about that.
One second, he put Partey up against Luis Diaz and he kept him in
And
his
he
pocket.
locked him up. I'm not worried about Partey playing.
Is Tommy Ashley not back yet?
No,
That guy don't exist, bro. He's a fairy tale now.
But
I'll tell you guys this, and you guys.
There's a difference
You guys
between
will
Matoma
laugh.
in terms of Matoma and Luis Diaz. I think Matoma is a better manipulator of the ball. I think Luis Diaz is a player who's better at running into
Pace.
space, but he's not as a better close control dribbler in comparison to a Luis Diaz. So I think that's where.
If not Thomas Partey, then who? Not Luis Kelly.
I have a name, but you guys won't like it. He's played right back against PSG and locked up Barcola a little bit. I would play Calafiori right back and move Luis Kelly to left back because I don't want to see Partey start right back. It doesn't work. He's our best midfielder in the season. Playing him right back in a game against Brighton away from home is idiotic in my opinion. I think Calafiori should play right back.
And also, you can talk about how good Mitoma is. If Mitoma has an off day, anybody you put in right back could be able to lock him up. He's had off games, so we can't always talk, like.
Yeah, but the good thing about Brighton, though, Dio, is that they've got a lot of strength for depth. They've got Simon Adingra. They've got quite a few players who can cover that wide position, anyways.
Your mic's going a little bit crazy, by the way, bro. I'm not too sure if it's.
It sounds distant.
Considering how good
guys,
your
go.
rig, cheers, Ash. Thank you, mate. Consider how good your rig is as well. This here says would watch Terry playing FIFA, call it TFT gaming. Yeah, maybe. Watch this space. We've got some big things coming up on the terrace soon. People think that rebuilding a club is natural. Arteta has taken this club from a laughing stock to the team that is fighting for the Premier League and can legitimately hope to win it. This is very, very true. I've been doing a lot of research into rebuilds this last few days. It's amazing how people rewrite history. I'll tell the boys afterwards backstage, but I'm not going to ruin the bit of content. But this here says makes sense. Arteta does not want us to be a counter-attack team in general. Unfortunately, we are possession-based team to limit being countered. Shame.
I don't understand how that's
I really do see it differently. I suppose you're watching your team and you want to score with every attack, and because I'm not emotionally invested, I thought today you looked dangerous every time you went forward. I that's how I felt watching it. And do you know what? I'm probably being a little bit hyperbolic. Of course, sometimes you play the wrong ball and things didn't go right, but I felt like you had Brentford on tippy toes, on eggshells every time. The goal you scored, it felt like that was coming for a long while in the game until they scored. Then they had a 5-10 minute spell with dominance, and then you did it again. But of course, I think we all view each other's teams differently. When whenever I watch City play, generally, I don't know. It's like I never feel like they're going to lose a football match, if that makes sense. Because I mean, in fairness, they invariably didn't. But I don't know. And then some City fans would come on after I didn't like today, and I was like, you didn't look shook for 90 minutes. What do you mean you didn't like today? But yeah, 3 goals, no assists, but it's obsession to call it out for being jammy. So Blaze, I don't think it's obsession to call it out per se. What I think is a crazy obsession, and I think rivals have it for each other. There's Arsenal fans that will have this for other clubs as well. It isn't unique towards Arsenal per se, but it's weird to do what Husam did. I've got a good feeling about Brentford. I think Brentford will win. They've got their injuries, but I think Brentford are going to win. Brentford score their goal. Wow, I told you I was going to be right. Arsenal dominate the game, have more shots, have more of the ball, have the better chances, have the better XG, whichever you like to look at, win 3-0. And do you know what? Arsenal were just jammy today. And by the way, they didn't even beat that great a team. That's what people are calling out when it comes to, I think, the obsession element is the energy afterwards isn't the same as the energy before, which I think is a fair cop, Blaze. And you've called it out when people have done that to Chelsea. And
talking about with 4 goals and
very, very quickly, guys. Terry, man, I gotta go, guys. Big up to everybody here.
Cheers, bro. Take care, my man. Thank you, Omar. Thank you. FYI, Husam spent his stream bitching, whining, and crying like Arsenal stole his girlfriend. I did hear that. Pinball games happen when a team is in a low block, Husam. It's not a bad sign. It's a fair point. Egal, you stated if Slot finishes above Arteta in his first season, he should be sacked. Are you still standing by that now that it looks likely to happen?
unprecedented circumstances have taken place and has changed my mind.
Egal.
The way you said that so calmly and so coolly.
But to this question, it says it looks likely to happen. I could argue differently that the first time Arsenal did win the Premier League, which was 1997-98, as of January we were 12 points behind Manchester United in 5th place, and by May we were champions. And we saw this last season as well, where by game week 20, Liverpool last year was 5 points ahead of Arsenal. Even though we did not win the league, by the end of the season, we were 7 points ahead of them. That's a 12-point swing. So it's not like it's never been done before. It's possible.
Yeah. I also look. Do you know what you did, Egal? A lot of people do this, and it's not a dig. This is just I've seen it in the mainstream media as well. We are still judging clubs in England when they change head coaches, change managers, based on the way English clubs historically were run. I've told you about Arsenal. You guys are not going to have to rebuild the entire club, the recruitment. You might bring in new recruiters, you might bring in new coaches, but they're going to all fit what you've been building for the last 5 years. I feel that we're going to see, like in Spain, like in Germany, like in these other countries, the top teams that have the money, which all of our top 6 have, probably barring Spurs because they've never had that consistency. Once they get their builds right, I don't think they're just going to drop off for long periods through changing coaches. You might replace Arteta and the new guy's trash. You have a bad year, he leaves, someone new comes in, you straight back up. I think we're moving into that realm. And I get why people predicted Liverpool to be much worse with Slot, but that's because they're not focusing on how all the clubs are now structured. And I don't blame the general fan. I blame the mainstream media. The same reason I blame them for people thinking net spend is real. They don't focus on the real shit that goes on in football. There have been no real documentaries, no real great pieces of journalism, especially from the sort of the video-based media that you watch, that have broken down how clubs are structured, how they operate, and compared it to years gone by and made us see how it's different and how changing managers now isn't as dangerous or as you should be as fearful of it as you used to be. I really do think, again, if fan channels had the budgets and the access, that stuff would get done. The mainstream media is just shit, bro. They have all the access and they give us fucking nothing. I tell you, they really, really do.
You know what it is, Terry? The broadcasters, BT Sport, Sky Sports in the UK, don't do it as well as they do it in other major networks across the world. Because I watched the Australian network, Opus. They had a sit-down interview with the manager, breaking down his tactics. They have sit-down interviews with players, talking about what they were thinking in the lead up to their best goals in their career. But over here, all we get is advertisements for the big boxing fight next week for 20 minutes.
Think about it, right? How often do you hear the media ask questions, not press conferences, but like do interviews and ask the questions that we genuinely want answers to? And I get they're not going to reveal game plans and players that they're looking at, but like historical stuff. I want a bit more detail on. I would love, this is the question I'd ask Arteta if I was in front of him. Why did you loan Saliba for those? Maybe it's a fan thing. I've seen Arsenal fans and rivals argue for years he should have started playing straight away. It was ridiculous we loaned him out for 2 years. I want to hear the reasoning, the rationale, and the why behind why it happened. Not just the media reports and snippets. I would love those questions. Because again, if my thought is, I don't think the player was ready. I've read reports that he was a bit homesick and he wanted to go back there. And that's my belief because of what I've read. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I want to know the truth. And I think that truth educates us all to talking about football in a better way. And we don't get enough of it from them. And the reason I blame the mainstream media is they're the ones who have the access. They're the ones, you get it with the referees all the time. How often do we see the real tough questions being asked so we all learn more? They don't. Do you get where I'm coming from? And there needs to be so much more of that, I think, to help. In some respects, I'd like some of the fan debates to be ended. I don't care whether I'm right or wrong.
Why don't journalists?
I just want the facts.
Why don't journalists ask these guys, why didn't you play Ethan, instead of being like, instead of asking them, oh, how are all your pregnant players getting pregnant?
I'll tell you why they do this, though. Yeah, I get you. But the reason why they do it is because the mainstream media can be very, very poisonous in the sense of we as fans, we will react to what we're seeing and you'll go, that's terrible, that's good. I like that, I don't like it. But we're reacting to what the media tells us. The media will, why weren't you playing Waneri? And he might say something along the lines of, do you know what? We didn't think we had the maturity at that time. There was this issue and that issue. Some media outlets will turn it into Arteta slams immature Waneri, and they turn it into a negative. They won't just. It's why the legacy media is dying by and large, and podcasts are growing so much around the world, because actually someone can sit there for 3 hours and really go into detail about their political beliefs, their religious beliefs, their sporting beliefs, why they did things. The mainstream media, it's all very much they did it to Ruben Amorim 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Ruben Amorim said it's really embarrassing to be the Man United manager when you're losing so much. The headline was Amorim says it's embarrassing to be the Man United manager. That's why the clubs don't open up and speak to the media and go into this stuff in more detail, because they know that they're going to twist things to make it sound negative more so than it is. When fans actually just want it, I think it's a mixture of all of those things. Let's get back to go on, mate. Go on.
The thing that really pissed me off was there was an interview that was done recently with Mikel Arteta, and out of everything they could have asked him about the upcoming game, about the past couple games, about players missing, they asked him about how all these Arsenal players are getting married and having kids, like irrelevant topics. It just seems like a majority of these interviews are filled with irrelevant things that nobody asks or even wants to know about, for God's sakes.
Yeah, no, someone just tell you, why is he saying that in the first place about Ruben Amorim? Because it was relevant to the topics that were being asked of him. And I think it's very fair and very honest. And I actually like it. A manager saying, again, I don't really watch a lot of the press conferences, but I saw that headline. And when I saw it, I thought, I've got to click on it and see. And I was like, you fucking liars. But I like what he said. I like the fact that he feels embarrassed that he's losing, because him feeling embarrassed means he's got an emotional connection to wanting to win. You want that. It's like any employee. If an employee has a bad week at work, I want them to feel pissed off, embarrassed, frustrated, annoyed that they didn't achieve their goals. If they were like, don't care that I'm not losing, that would bother me a lot more. So that's why he said it. But then the headlines, and I've seen, let's do these super chats here. Sorry, guys. Husam's blood pressure is getting high. Yeah, he was fuming, mate. That's why he's a pussycat in a tree. Husam crying because Arsenal got a huge win. Unlike their loser fans, Arteta and his team are not giving it to Liverpool without a fight. Come on, you Gooners. Kane Anthony here says, Sulz, can you point your camera at your bedside table? I'm sure we'll see. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're not going to go into any more detail on that one. Come on, my friend. I don't think Sulz has sex toys on the side of his bed with Arteta's face on it. I don't believe that. It's over positive. Delulu Arsenal glaze is jarring. Signs of champions. What a donut. I don't think it's. Listen, that's Sulz. You can answer that. Like you said earlier on, that a win today is a sign of a champion. They're saying that you shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah, I mean, going to a tough away game. They've only lost once in the entire campaign. Without your best two goal scorers, without Declan Rice, who's £105 million, pressures on a 17-year-old. I mean, there was a lot of things that could have gone wrong today. Went 1-0 down. We didn't play well. First half, the heads could have dropped. All of this, right? And we're at an away stadium. So, I mean, if that's not a sign of champions, and I mean, you need to be watching more football rather than focusing on people's, personal lives and what you get up to in your bedroom. Rather than
can I say this about Kane Anthony? Next time you want to talk about a DD type thing like this, just make it £100 super chat. You can't just make it worth the while. If you're going to talk about dildos, make it £100.
We should set a limit on the table. You want to insult the panelists, they've got to be £100 or more. And I'll give the panelists half of it. That's what we'll set up a standard there if you want to abuse people. I think Raya was good. Only mistake for me was instantly he rectified on the line. Yeah, do you know what? It's one of those ones that when that went through his hands, I couldn't believe. I thought, oh wow, this is going to go off tonight, because it could have been two mistakes from him. But he then literally, the fact though, it was a mad 2 minutes to make that mistake and save it, and to go up the other end and score. That's crazy. Like I bet Raya was sitting there when that goal went in, thinking, fuck, that could have been so different. It could have been so different, really. It could have been. But
for me, the most impressive thing was his recovery in the second half, because if you watch that second half in isolation, you would never think he'd had the first half that he did in terms of being integral to the, making a key blunder for the first goal and almost gifting away a clown comical second. So for me, it shows.
Do you realize? Matt, do you realize that this is his first game against his former team?
Yeah.
Essentially,
he was on loan.
He was on loan. We've never played him.
Maybe he was nervous. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like that's something that I like when I saw it, I was like Raya for the first, because I think there's for me, it's either you play amazingly well against your former team, or you have blunders. It's like when we played Kai Havertz for the first time against Chelsea, in my mind, I was like, this guy is either going to blunder this game for us or he's going to shine. And that's what I expected from Raya today. And, you know, in the first half, he recovered very well in the second half. Saving that ball off the line is what you should do if you've made that type of mistake. Give it your all. You know, give it your all and try and do something about it. And he did. So, yeah, so kudos to him.
Yeah, mistakes happen in football. And that's not saying that it's right what he did or anything along those lines or defending it. But I think what you said is spot on, Nath. It's the fact that he recovered from that point and had a game. And I got Brandon's point earlier. We kind of got sidetracked where he said he was very far off his line. He was just talking about he's really far off his line. It could cost us. I remember when we first look, Onana's made a lot of mistakes in a Man United shirt. But I remember a pre-season game where he got beat from the halfway line because somebody gave the ball away in the middle, and the media went mad about it. And I always felt at the time that was just, again, creating a pile-on from nothing. All teams that play out from the back, the better teams, their goalkeepers stand where Onana is in that phase of play on the pitch. It's just a midfielder gave it away and he was then exposed. And all teams, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, they are all exposed if they lose the ball in that particular moment in time. It's just normal, but it's one of those weird things that we don't see because, especially if you don't go to games, because the cameras don't show it, right? So it's only when there's a goal that comes from it where people start going, that's crazy, that's mad. And again, the media do a bad job in this of, well, hang on, how many goalkeepers are doing it? Is it natural? Is it normal? They'll always say it isn't normal, but when you actually go to games and watch it, or and Y-Scout's really good for this because you can watch games from multiple angles. So at the same time, you can see that that's where Onana was standing, where Raya was today. It's exactly, and this is why you don't see a lot of goals anymore. Through how many times did we all see? I'm not saying Henry wouldn't score goals today. I'll use Henry because you're all Arsenal fans. How many times did Henry score goals? Did Overmars score goals? Did Anelka score goals? Where you'd win the ball back in what it wasn't called a press back then. You just won the ball back, and you would knock the ball over the top or through the back line, and a striker would run onto the ball and then slot it in 1-0. The amount of those goals that don't happen now because the goalkeeper's standing on the edge of his box compared to his goal line like back in the day, again, I think it actually saves more goals than it costs, if that makes sense, because I reckon you must save at least 2 opportunities a game like that, which might be about 10 games a season at certain levels. So yeah,
think about how many fast breaks you stop because your goalkeeper comes out. Also, one more thing, 2 things actually. First, Jason Cundy is an idiot for saying it's self-indulgent from Arteta playing him a couple of years ago, and now he gets a start against the same team 3 years later, and you can see he's a big part of it. Number 2, Chido Obi Martin and all these other guys who left Arsenal's academy are looking back at Arsenal right now, and they're saying, "Oh, maybe they should have stayed. They would have got more opportunities." And finally,
Martins, don't throw Martins.
Let's see, is he going to get a chance at United?
Yeah,
probably not. He's not going to play this.
Have you seen how dire they are?
Have you seen my strikers, bruv? I might get a fucking chance. I might play.
I hope he gets a chance because that's why he got there. Right?
We keep saying we want youngsters to come in. I actually hope we don't throw him into the team right now, but there we go. AMP,
I had one more thing, Terry.
Yeah, go on, bro.
We were talking 2 seconds ago about loans, and Raya was a loan to us. Saliba was loaned away. Some of these players we have in our team have been loaned. Have you changed your stance on loans? Because you're saying big clubs, they keep their players close to nurture them. Now you're seeing a lot of big clubs loaning out players, and those players still turning out to be world superstars. So do you change your stance on that? Because
what loans are you talking about?
Because before you were speaking about the fact that
I know my point, but what loans are you talking about with Arsenal?
For Saliba, for example, because when we were speaking about this, it was when Saliba wasn't even at Arsenal at that point.
Again, the reason I still stand by the fact that the majority of young players that big clubs loan out don't have futures at those clubs. There's always going to be anomalies, and Saliba is an anomaly. I look at Odegaard. Odegaard is almost like Odegaard was a mistake, and I've admitted that, but I still feel that Odegaard is an exception to the rule. Ahmad's looking really good right now, but let's be honest, and I'm going to be really fair. I'm really hopeful that Ahmad goes to a level. But he did brilliantly against City. The system ain't work. It isn't like he's doing it week in, week out yet. He's not like he's performing at Saka's level yet, right? And that's where Ahmad's got to get to that type of level for me to say he's an out-and-out Man United player, right? So let's see if he does. I hope he does. but the vast majority of players, if you actually just go through and look at all the players that Arsenal have loaned out from the age of 21 and under for the last 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and see how many are now in your first team, the percentage is going to be very, very low. So until we start seeing 50, 60, 70, 80% of players that get loaned out become first team regulars and then integral members of the first team, I'll still stand by my belief that the majority of players that get loaned out at a young age are not good enough for the first team. Waneri is a great example. Saka's a great example. There's more examples of Saka's and Waneri's. When you're young and you're really good, typically your club holds on to you. They want to nurture your development. What they do with other players, and by the way, we made mistakes with Ahmad. I think Ahmad should have stayed. I don't think he should have got more game time. So that's an example where he should have stayed with us. But typically speaking, the better players stay with the club. There are anomalies. Beckham went out on loan. Harry Kane went out on loan. But the vast majority that make it seem to stay at their football club, personally. So I haven't changed my mind on that. And the Ray loan was different, wasn't it? The Ray loan was a much older player.
Yeah.
And
the Saliba loan, let's be honest, we bought Saliba to actually play him immediately. But the reason we loaned him back was because his mom passed away.
Yes.
Saliba had just lost his mom and he didn't want to leave. He needed to cope. So we're like, all right,
be at home, be around his family.
His family and all that. So, okay, go back. Yeah. So go back to stay there. You know, so there may be reasons.
I think it depends on a player by player kind of circumstances and what kind of opportunities there are within the squad. I mean, at Arsenal, if we were in a situation where all our left backs were fit, would Miles Lewis-Skelly be getting the game time that he's been getting? And a lot of it falls down to opportunity. You know what the squad looks like, the semblance of the squad. If you've got 3 or 4 right wingers and they're all of a solid level of quality, Ethan might not get the game time that he's needed, and he might need to go and elsewhere for men's football. So I think
it's a good point.
A big part of that. Yeah.
Listen, I think that's a good point, and it's one of those things where I think it needs a study. It needs someone to, I have a theory, and I would never listen. I've got a theory on it. Have I done hours of study? No, I would. Otherwise, I'd have the numbers. But yeah, I mean, you've got to look at it in multiple ways. I think the younger players that come in that are from foreign nations, I have more leeway with them because I can't imagine what it's like at 15 years. Beckham talks about how hard it was in the beginning to move from London to Manchester, but he's still in England, right? And I know there's differences. If you're from a working class area of London and then you move to a working class area of Manchester, I did that. And there's differences, but you can cope very well. If you're a young 15-year-old that's moved from France, that's moved from Brazil, that's moved from Belgium, I can understand maybe wanting a loan to go to a country where the language is the same, where the culture is similar as you grow and develop and everything else. So I do think you have to be wary, but generally my stance is the same, that most players that get loaned out when they're young don't make it to the highest level at your football club. But there's always going to be anomalies to those things. But listen, the Saliba loan, I've said it for a while. I think you did the absolute right thing. I feel if he was thrown into your team too young, when his head wasn't in the right space after his mother's passing and illness and everything else, you may not have the player you have today. I really think that. People keep saying, as a United fan, let's throw the youngsters in now.
Also, the culture at the time.
I'm a bit worried about throwing the youngsters in now. I'm a little bit worried about them being exposed to the problems that we're going through. I almost feel like to keep them away from it until we're a little bit better, maybe. You got to get that balance right because you don't want to go too early. But look, I want to thank the viewers for tuning in. You're legends, all of the super chats, all of the members. You're brilliant. A big shout out to our title sponsors, NordVPN. You shouldn't use the internet without any protection. Plus, of course, you can get games much cheaper by using NordVPN. Just sign up to Setanta Sports. It's $3.99 a month for Premier League football, Champions League football, F1, tennis, and so much more. All you need to do is change your geolocation with NordVPN. It keeps all your data safe. Get loads of cheap options when it comes to streaming as well. So scan the QR code and check that out. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon. Peace.